They say that the unlucky never stray far from the fortune teller's stall. In a bustling market teeming with life, the vendors' cries mingle with the crowd's chatter, rising and falling like waves. Shen Yangjiang trudged warily through the throng, stumbling along the edge of the street. His clothes were tattered, the cuffs worn down to a single layer of fabric. His temples were disheveled and dust-covered, giving him the appearance of a lost soul. His eyes lacked any spark of life, even the faintest glimmer had vanished. His life well, there wasn't much hope left in it. As he reached the corner of the street, a shabby fortune teller's stall caught his eye. The sign read, "Divine Calculations, Insights into Destiny." A small tea kettle puffed wisps of smoke in front of the stall. Beside it stood an old eight mortal's table, and behind that sat an elderly man with graying hair. His face was deep set, his expression serene. Shen Yangjiang paused, sighed, and thought to himself, might as well give it a shot. Dragging his heavy steps, he slowly sat down without a word. He pulled out a piece of paper inscribed with his birth date and 8 characters. Handing it over, the fortune teller took the paper, glanced briefly at Shen Yangjiang, and said nothing. He squinted his eyes, his expression turning serious, and slowly unfolded the yellowed paper. Picking up a calligraphy brush, he began arranging the 8 characters on a piece of yellow parchment spread across the table. At first, the old man's demeanor remained calm, his brush strokes fluid. But halfway through, his brows suddenly knit tightly. The tip of his brush quivered as if he stumbled upon something amiss. Seated nearby, Shen Yangjiang frowned slightly. Could it be that even a fortune teller can't make sense of my fate? The old man clenched his teeth and continued arranging the characters. With each stroke, his face grew increasingly grim. The muscles at the corners of his eyes twitched intermittently, and a thin layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. He set down his brush, glanced up at Shen Yangjiang, then opened a thick ancient tome beside him. Flipping through it rapidly, he mumbled to himself. Seeing this, Shen Yangjiang grew anxious. Unable to contain himself, he asked, "Sir, what do you see?" The old man didn't respond immediately. Instead, he turned the pages even faster, his brush hovering over the paper, starting and stopping. Several times, he seemed on the verge of speaking but swallowed his words. It felt as if an invisible hand clutched Shen Yangjiang's heart, dragging it into the abyss. Finally, the fortune teller closed the book, slowly raised his head, and stared at Shen Yangjiang. His eyes revealed a mix of incredulous shock and grave concern. "These 8 characters," he murmured, almost to himself. "In 50 years of practice, I've never seen a fate like this." "What kind of fate?" Shen Yangjiang asked nervously. The old man looked at him, a hint of pity and awe in his expression. Gently setting down his brush, he began. "According to your 8 characters, year of Jian Chen, month of Jiai, day of Jie Wu, hour of Wu Chen, the 5 elements are severely unbalanced. You read lacking metal and wood, water and earth clash. Fire stands alone and weak. It is as if you read teetering on the edge of a bottomless abyss, where even the slightest disturbance could push you over." Shen Yangjiang was stunned. He had always felt that his life was filled with endless misfortune and suffering, but he hadn't expected his destiny to be so despairing. "Can you elaborate just how bad is this fate?" The old man sighed deeply, gently stroking his long beard. "Your 8 characters represent the classic heavenly lone star with the blade of the goat. The heavenly lone star means you were fated to be estranged from family, born under a malignant star that brings misfortune, making it hard for loved ones to stay close. The blade of the goat is like a sharp sword hanging over your head, signifying constant life and death crises." He paused before continuing. "In your childhood, your family was fairly well gone off, wasn't it? But then, when you were 8, your father suddenly fell gravely ill and passed away. Though your mother is still alive, she remarried due to having no support at home. You've been living under others' roofs since, often met with cold stares, is that correct?" Shen Yangtiang looked up sharply, a flash of shock in his eyes. How? How did you know? The old man shook his head helplessly. It is all clearly indicated in your fate. With the heavenly lone star, familial bonds are fleeting. You brought misfortune to your father, and your ties to your parents are shallow. Shen Yangtiang was struck down, as if a sore spot had been pressed. The bitterness in his eyes was unmistakable.